let me quickly cover uh, whatever we had discussed last time. So, in our previous lecture, we basically looked into the query editor part, right? Uh, we discussed how the query editor page looks like, what all buttons are there in the home page, what are their different properties, and like there is a formula bar where we see M query that is automatically generated by the Power BI desktop. In the left side, we see a query list. So whichever data set we will import, that will be seen in the left side, the left highlighted box, which we call as query list. The right side is table name and properties, where you can edit the name of the table or the name of the data set that you have imported. At the bottom right side, there's a box where all the steps that you will apply in the data set, like all the transformation that you will do, those steps will be available. And these steps are like a macro, like one by one, like whatever steps you will apply, it will start appearing over here, right? So this is something that we discussed in our last lecture. So today what we are going to do is mainly discussing what all options are available in transform tab, a transform button if you see at the top, and then what are options are available in add column, what are the differences between transform and add column. So basically, when do we use transform and when do we use add? Once we finish the discussion on these uh, pointers, then we will basically load the data set, both the we will load two data sets and do few transformations. So after the lecture, what I'll do is I'll send those two data sets to you guys on the same mail ID, and you can go through my video and try doing or try importing the data set and do the transformation on your own. If you guys face any issues after like in doing that, we can discuss in our tomorrow's lecture. Okay. So, any questions till now? Like we are good? Then I'll start the today's lecture.
Oh, good.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So, uh, in the transform button, if you see, so let me quickly go here in Power BI desktop itself. So we had discussed last time the home button, right? So in the home button, we have new query where you can import the new data set. Then we have data source settings, parameters. You can refresh the data set. There are a few properties, or this is for query, like you can write M query on your own. Then there is manage column and reduce rows. So you can basically add or remove columns or keep or remove rows. Then you can sort the data set, like any data set means sort any of the columns, ascending or descending through these buttons. And then you can split any column, like if you want to split the product name into two before comma or after comma, you can do that using split column. Then you have data type, whole number, or you can decide the data type of any of the column. You can do this in two ways. Either you can do it from here, or you can directly click on this number that you are seeing. This basically represents the data type of each of the column, right? So likewise here in product key, it's 123, which means it's uh, numerical, right? A whole number. In product name, you see it's ABC, which means it's text. So you can change it accordingly if you feel that the data type of a particular column is not correct, or you want to make changes to that, right? Then there's a some option called use first row as header, and then replace value. Let's say in some particular column there is blank and you want to replace blank with zeros, right? So you can do that using the replace value option. Then there is something called combine, in which you have merge query and append query. So I can talk about this later on when we will import multiple queries. Queries means table over here. So how this merge query and append query work. So we will go through it in later sessions. Then there is AI Insight, which is text analytics, vision, Azure, machine learning. So all these are very advanced concept, and this one is not that frequently used, and we'll not be covering that in these sessions, right? Then going to the transform button, right? So home button we had discussed in our last session, just refreshing everyone's memory. Transform button is something that is there. So if you see what happens under transform and add column, you will find multiple options, multiple buttons that is same. Like uh, I can show you, like split column, right? Or maybe format. So what happens if you select transform under format, and if you select trans format under add column, right? If you select format from transform, and if you select format from add column, what are the differences? Because both are the formatting options. So if you go under format, you see there are values, or there are options of lowercase, uppercase, capitalize each word, trim, clean, add prefix, add suffix, right? If you go to transform and then see under format, they are the same options, right? So then what is the difference between both these options under transform and add column? So basically what happens is, um, if you select, let's say, product key, right? And or maybe let me select one of the column, go to customer maybe, and select, let's say, first name. Okay. So if I what I do is, if I select first name, go to format under transform button, right? And click capitalize each word, what it will do, it will capitalize the values in each cell in this column itself, right? But if I do the same thing under add column, what it will do is, it will create a new column and capitalize. I'll show you how it does. So let's say I have selected first name. I click on here and I select capitalize each word, and this is under transform button, right? So if I click this, what happens? First name, if you see, it has changed. So earlier everything was capital JONRUBE, and right now it's in uh, capitalized, like proper case, right? And this step has been added over here in the right side applied steps, where my cursor is. You can see that we have capitalized each word, right? This we have done from transform button. Let me cancel this. If the same thing I would have gone and done through add column, under add column also there is format button, right? So if I go here and do capitalize each word, what will happen? A new column will be created. So if you see here, uh, first name will be there, first name is here, but then we have one more column which is uh, named as capitalize each word by default, and all the values under each cells are capitalized. Basically they are in proper case. So why this is one more column has been created? Because we have selected format from add column. So we are telling the Power BI query editor that you add one column and then capitalize value under each cells, right? So that is the difference between add column and transform. So whenever we want to make any changes in the same existing column, so whatever existing columns are there in the data set, if we want to make any changes, then we will go to transform and do these operations, right? But if we want to create a new column and then do any of the operations or any of the uh, steps that we are following, then we need to go to add column and then select all those options, right? So that is the main difference between add column and transform. And you will sometimes it will happen with you that by mistake, instead of selecting options from transform, you guys will select from add column or vice versa. So just to make sure like what are the differences, you need to understand like why we have two options and why we have like the exact same options under both the buttons, right? So this is a major difference. Any questions, anyone? Is it clear to you guys?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Okay, okay, sure. So under transform, if we see what all options are there, so under there are multiple sections available. If you see it, and there are few options that is mentioned under table, right? So if you select any of these, let's say use first row as header or transpose or reverse rows, count rows, all these things will be applied to the entire table and not a particular column, right? So you have seen this promoted headers, right? So from source, if I'm right now under applied steps, so source and then promoted headers, right? The second step. So the promoted headers is basically they have use first row as headers. These are the default steps applied by the Power BI query editor itself. Like they understand, they look into the data top 200 rows, and so basically this tool is intelligent enough to understand what is going on, and then it has promoted this one, right? So use first row as header is something which is applied in the entire table, right? So that's why it's under table. These are the options under table. We can talk about the transform and all these options later on, like how it works, but these are the few options that you will apply on the entire table. Then there are few options which is categorized as any column. So you can select any of the column and then apply these options. So what all options are there? What is the data type of a particular column? So you can make changes from here, right? So y- right now we are in transform tab. So if you select let's say data type from text to something else, so that data type of this column, this particular column will change, right? The prefix column will change. Then we have rename, so you can rename the column, right? Then replace value, pivot column, unpivot. So pivot column, unpivot column, all these there is one session in which I'll cover like what do you understand by pivoting and unpivoting. So we will cover few of the like options available here in today's session and few in the later session. Then there is something called text column. So these options are applied to the text column. So by text column, we mean like, let's say first name or last name, right? So we can apply these options split column. So under split column, you see, right? We have by delimiter, by number of character, by lowercase, uppercase. So basically what it's saying is, let's say you want to split a particular column. No, this is not the correct example. Let me check this email address. So let's say you want to split this column on the basis of a delimiter at the rate, right? You see everywhere we have at the rate. So if somebody wants to basically split values before at the rate and after at the rate, so we can go to split a column, and we can do that, right? We can pull the values previous to at the rate. So we will do all those things. We will do the demo and hands-on so you guys will understand how it works. Then there is something called format, extract, parse. So we will go into these options today. Then there's something called number column. So this, if you see here, number column, right now half of the things are grayed out. Why? Because we are currently in the text column, right? And also, let's say we go to the number column. Uh, Let me go to the lookup table, and we have something called product price over here, right? So see, when I have selected the number column, all these things, uh, now you can see, you can click on here, right? But if you select, let's say, product size, half of the things are grayed out. So it's very smart. This tool is very smart. We can't do any multiplication or any mathematical calculation on the text column, right? So that's why they have grayed out these values, right? But as soon as you select a number column, everything will start appearing over here. And then under each of these columns, what all values are there, you can do sum, minimum, maximum, then multiply each of these rows with some number, and all those mathematical options are available under this one, right? So that is there. And then we have date and time column. So since this is not date and time, see, all the options are grayed out. So if you click on some date column, if we have some date column over here, let me quickly see. I don't see it here. uh, if we don't have date column here, that's fine. So if we will click on some date column, then these yeah, birth date, right? So if you click on birth date, since this is date column, you can change this to date also, right? The correct formatting would be date. And then you see here under date, what all things you can see is, right now everything is grayed out, right? Because we are under transform, right? So mostly what happens is, when we work with or when we deal with date column, you need to add one column. So if you go to add column and then see date, then okay, got it, because it's not date. Let me make it date. Okay, and then see, right? So see, all those options are now available: year, month, quarter, week, right? Because these options, these values are under date. So date, date option will be applied to only the date field, right? And not on this one. If you click on last name and see date, nothing will appear, because you can't actually extract year out of the last name, right? So that's why it's not appearing over here, right? Similarly for the transform, the same thing. It will not appear, right? And both are same, just the difference is transform will work on the same column, and add column will add one column and then extract, right? So those are the few differences, right? Under add column, if I go the same thing, for the text column there are few options, for the number column there are few options, for the date and time column there are few options. So it's better to now import the data set and then show you guys how it works, right? So let me actually open a new Power BI, and then we will import the data set, right, from scratch. So it's better for you guys to understand. Any questions till now? Anyone? Am I going too fast or too slow? Everything is clear.
Everything is clear for me, but I was just a little confused. Why would you need to add a column just to fix a name? Like in the example that you showed,
Mm-hmm.
like it was you could have done the transformations that you needed on the very column, but I don't know. I guess there's the reason. Maybe there's going to be a time when you're going to need to add a column.
Add a column for which one? Where?
Like for the name, for an example, or when you just showed us that example, you it said like add a column and do the transformation. When you
Oh, so
went to the
got it.
transform,
Mm-hmm. Got it.
created
So
another column with the name itself, and so I thought that would be too much for the machine itself. Why would you want to add another column?
Exactly, we don't want it. That's why we have removed the applied steps from here, right? That was just for the demo purpose for you guys to understand what is the difference between add column and transform, right? If I would have
Okay.
done it under transform, it would have changed it in the this column itself.
In the
If
same
I
column.
would have gone under add column and do it, how it will look like? It will add one column and then do it. But ideally, we should not do that because for this purpose, because why do we want to create a new column for the first name itself, right?
Right.
So you are right. In this case, there is no need to actually add column and then do the formatting. That was just for the demo purpose. What is the difference between add column and transform if we select format from the add column and if we select format from the transform?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So what I can do is under this one, this is the blank query. If you see under the model view, nothing is there. Under data view, nothing is there. Everything is new. Like I have opened a new Power BI desktop, right? Now what I will do is I will import first data set that is there, right? So I'll go here under more. As we have discussed in previous lectures, we will be using CSV or text for the entire class that we will have because it's easier for us to store in the desktop and then work on it, right? We could have done but the importing and doing everything like all the transformation that will remain same if even if you select some other data source, right? But for our purpose, since it's easier to store in the desktop and then work, so for these lectures we'll be going with text or CSV, right? So I'll do connect. And then you see here, right? We have multiple data sets over here, right? So we will start with the product data set. So what I'll do, I will select this, open. So once you do this, it will connect to that data set and it will open uh, a preview page wherein these all we have discussed, right? Where is what is the file origin, what is the delimiter, and then data type detection. So based on the first 200 rows, they will Power BI will decide what should be the data set of each of these. So just scroll, everything is looking correct. Then what you need to do, instead of load or cancel, you have to transform data because you need to do few like if whatever operations you want to do under, if you click on transform data, it will take you to the Power Query editor page, right? So before loading it to the desktop, every time whenever you import data, make a practice to click on the transform data and then basically see all the data, all the columns and everything is looking correct or not, right? So every time I upload a data set, two things uh, mandatorily we have to do. One is, step one is just look at the table name at the right if it's making sense or not. If not, just edit it. If you're feeling that yeah, this table name looks fine to me, just go ahead with that, right? So what I will do is, first thing, I will change the name of the table, and we will follow the same like same convention, naming convention for other tables also. So what I will do for now, I will make this as AW product lookup. Why lookup? I will talk about lookup tables and data tables in later sessions, but for now you can understand that we are calling this table as lookup table, right? So this is the name of the table that I have given, right? So once you type it here and press enter, what it will do is, you see under the query pane left side, right? Queries, the name of the table has also changed. The name of the data set that you have imported has changed. So now we will see the name of this table as AW product lookup, right? So this is the first step. Whenever you import data, just look into the name under properties section and see if you want to make any changes to that particular name or not, right? The second thing what you need to do is you just see scroll through the column headers, right, and see the data types of each of these columns, right, if it is making sense or not, if there is some need to make changes in the data type, right. So what we will do is we will scroll it towards right. So product key is numeric, looks good. Subcategory is numeric, looks good. All these SKU, product name, model name, everything is text, which is making sense, right? Then we will scroll towards right, everything is making sense. If you see under product size, there is numeric plus text, which is little off, which it's text also and it's numeric also. So whenever we have mixed values, we'll keep it as text for now, because integers or numbers are also treated as text in some cases. So we will keep it as text. Then we have product style, then we have cost and price. So cost and price are decimal number, which is fine, because since we have decimal numbers over here, we will keep it as decimal instead of making it as whole number, right. So looks like, looking at this one, looks like everything is coming out correct, right, looking correct. Data type, so we are good with the type. So these are the two steps that you have to do every time you upload the data, right. Now what the let's do few transformations that we discussed, right. So if you see here under as we discussed, under product size, we have mixed values, we have numbers also, and then we have values also, large, medium, small. So it's very confusing, this particular column is very confusing, right. So what we will do is we will remove this particular column. So how can we remove this? Can somebody tell me, like, what, from where should I do this?
You could just click on that right there, the header, and right click and delete.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are two ways we can do it. Either if whichever column I want to basically remove, I can select that particular column, right click, and you see here we have remove option. We can directly select this and this column will be removed. The second option would be you go into home tab, right? And then there is something called remove columns. Okay? You can select this remove column and that would also give you the same result, right. So there are two ways you can remove this column. What I will do is I will right click on here and then I'll select remove. So see, it is showing me removed columns. So that particular column has been removed and now you won't see product size over here. Nowhere is the product size, because what we have done is we have removed product size. Why we have removed product size? Because we felt that that is something which is not making sense to our data, and that is some junk which we don't want, right. So that's why we have removed it. So that is one operation that we have done from the home tab or by right clicking. We could have done from the home tab or we have done it through right clicking, right. So that is one transformation that you have done on this data. Let's do one more thing. Let's sort this particular column product key. I want to sort this product key. How can we do that? Can somebody tell me?
You want to sort it,
Yeah, I
so
want to sort this.
you want to go like put it by ascending and descending.
Yes.
Then there is
So,
a tab at the very top right here next to it says remove rows. Right next to it, it says AZ and then AZ, like up and down arrow. You can click that and
okay.
organize it that way.
Yeah, you are right. So whichever column we want to sort, right? So what we can do is we can select that column. We can go to the home tab, and there is this option called sort, right? So you could have done sorting by ascending or descending. So descending, what it will do is all the like maximum value will come at the top and lowest will go at the bottom. And since we have done ascending, so all the ascending values are at the top, like the lowest values are at the top, and the highest value will go down. So this is the second transformation that we could have done if you want to do that sorting a particular column, right? So for this, I think all the other things are looking fine. So what we will do is we will basically go under home tab, close and apply. So whatever transformation we have done, two transformation, basically removing one of the column and sorting one of the column, right? Sorting rows under one of the column. So those transformations are done, and you will hit on close and apply. And as soon as you do this, that particular changes are being applied, and once it's done, you will see the data or the table added to this particular uh, uh, Power BI, right? So that is done now. Now you see the data set over here. uh, it's already loading, yeah. So in the right side right now we are under report view, right? So under report view at the uh, extreme right, we have field section where you see that AW product lookup. Just now the data that we have loaded and did few transformation, you see it here. And all the, if you click on the arrow over here, wherever where I'm hovering, so you see all the names of the columns. So you have model name, product color, product cost, and all these. For few of the for few of the columns, you see there is summation value, summation, right? I'm not sure why it's showing summation. We will see. But for few of these, there is summation, right? So summation means this is numerical value, right? So product cost, since it was numeric, right? So that's why it's summation. For the text column, it will not be numeric, right? For product cost, product key was also numeric. So that's why it's showing this symbol, summation, which means it's numeric column, right? So you can see the same data table under data view. So under data view also, you if you click on here, you will see this. If I click on product subcategory, okay, product subcategory is numeric. Subcategory key, oh, I thought product subcategory is text. So since this is product subcategory key, it is numeric, and that's why we are seeing here summation. So in the first page itself, like in the report view itself, it will give a clear view to you guys looking at the columns, which column is text and which column is numeric. Wherever it will be numeric, it will show a summation sign before the column name, and wherever it will be text or date, so some other, if it's date, there will be some date time value, like date time format in the front, like before the table name. And if it text, nothing will be there. So you can identify with the signs or with the format that you will see over here, right? And the same thing you will see in the model view. So earlier when we started, right, it was purely blank, nothing was here. Now you see that one table that we have loaded, which is AW product lookup, that is appearing over here, and all the columns that was there, that is there, right? If you see quickly, you don't, you will not find product size over here, but when we imported the data, it was there because we have removed those under transformation, right? So that's why you don't see product size over here. So this one particular data set has been imported. We are good with this data set. So that is done. Now let's say um, we want to work with some text specific tools, right? So what we will do is, uh, let's pull other data set. So right now we have pulled product data set. We will work on the one other data set, which is customer data set, right? So I'll go under text the same way you and you see here there is customer data set, right? AdventureWorks customers. So you will select it, open. So this preview will come. This is coming from Windows. File origin is Windows. Delimiter is comma, and then data type detection is based on first 200 rows. So basis on first 200 rows, we have imported the data. You will hit transform data. Basis on 200 rows, they have actually detected the data type. And then we hit on transform data. So now we are here, right? The first thing we should do is we should change the name of the table. to make it consistent with the other tables, right? So what we will do is we will write AW underscore customer underscore lookup. So that is first thing that we have done, right? And then we will look into the data type for each of these, right? So customer customer key is 123 prefix, first name, last name, birth date, marital status, gender. So these looks fine to me. Birth
I have a
date,
question here.
yeah, go ahead.
Is there any way to check the data type, or we have to go each? Do we have to go to each column?
We need to go through each column and just quickly have a preview. Like there's no other tool which will give you like in one go if the data type is correct or not. So these data type is automatically decided by the Power BI desktop. So they, according to the tool itself, looking at the first 200 rows, it has been decided that the customer key should be a whole number, right? So usually what happens is it will assign the correct data type, but just to make sure that we are doing the correct thing or not, you just need to scroll and quickly have a glance that if it's making sense to you or not, right? Looks
Okay.
okay. I think we dropped. Okay. Yeah, so basically, your question was if you can get to know in one go the data types, right? So the data types has been already assigned by the Power BI desktop. You just need to have a glance if everything is making sense or not to you, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So now, uh, looking at this, it's making sense. We could change this birth date to maybe date data type. Let me try this. Uh, we will add a new step, right? So it's giving some error. Let's keep it as is, and then we will see like how to fix that. What we can do is maybe add a column, and then uh, go to maybe duplicate this. Let me try this once. Duplicate column, and then what we will do is we will try to make it as date, date time or something. Date time is okay. I'll see like why it's coming error. For now, what we will do is we will continue with the date birth date as ABC. ABC is also fine, but usually for the date column, it's better to have it as date. So for now, we will continue with this, and I'll see like what is happening over there. But for the other columns, it's looking fine to me, right? It's ABC, and numeric column is coming 1, 2, 3, right? So we are good with the other columns. Let's do few of the transformations that is there, right? So uh, let's if we want to make capitalize this is looking little weird, right? Like why would we have all these names in proper capital value, right? We want to capitalize each of these, so how should I do it? If I want to do it, let's for prefix, if I want to capitalize, where can I go and do it? Can somebody tell me?
Go to transform.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
sorry.
then
What was the
Type,
question?
format
okay.
and uppercase.
Okay. So,
Capitalization.
yeah, uppercase, what it will do is uppercase will
Yeah, yeah.
uh, make it everything uppercase, right? We don't want that. That is already there. What we want is the prefix column, we want it to capitalize, right? So we'll click on capitalize, right? Similarly, we can do it for first and last name. So, Hanan, the question was, how can, since this is everything is in uppercase, for prefix first name, last name, how can we change it to capitalize each word? Like, where should we go? So the answer was go into transform and then do it, not the add column. So similarly, I can select first name and last name, go to format and capitalize each word. So this is one of the transformation that we could have done, right? Not doing from add column, because add column will unnecessarily add one column and then give me this result, right? Now let's say we want to create something called full name, because you see prefix is separate, first name is separate, last name is separate, right? So if we want to create if we want to have full name, how could we have done, like how can we do that if we want to create a full name out of this? Can somebody tell me? Like, just try.
Can we use delimiter? Sorry.
From where?
Go ahead. Chicken, go ahead.
No, go ahead. It's okay. Okay, add column.
Add column. Okay.
And then extract.
Extract.
No, it's not extract.
Hmm.
Can I
So,
try?
yeah, you can try. Yeah.
I was gonna say go to transform,
Mm-hmm.
and I already have an idea of what we could do, but so in this case, we want to merge the columns. Like,
Yes.
so either merge the columns, or we can separate by delimiter, and then I think we still have to merge the tables, the columns rather, I'm sorry. So where would
Mm-hmm.
you go? Transform, and um, after that you would go to
Which all columns do you want to merge? Right.
I want to merge the first and last name.
First name, last name, and prefix also. Right. Mr.,
So
Mrs., Miss.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So you want to
So
basically merge three columns. Yeah. Go ahead.
so we want to merge the columns. Oh yeah. So where would you? It's not even highlighted the merge columns
Exactly.
at the top. I don't know why. So should we click all three? So can you just click on the top of the column here for the name and then last name,
Yeah.
and then now merge column?
Yes, I can do that. You're somewhat right. But I will tell you what thing you have missed here. Anyone else, like Aklilu, if you want to try, how can we do it? The question is basically, if we
You
want to
have
create a
to
full name, what we will do?
you have to click the prefix
Mm-hmm.
uh, and then click the control
Mm-hmm.
F, and then
Mm-hmm.
click the first name
Mm-hmm.
and the last.
Mm-hmm.
And then can you right click on anywhere there? Right click right there, yeah.
Yeah.
And then allow me 1 second. Let me take a look there. Merge
No,
columns.
merge.
Okay. Now, the
Um,
same.
go ahead.
No,
Sorry,
click
go
the
ahead.
prefix and then control and then merge column.
Yeah. So you guys are correct. Actually, we want to merge column and we could have done it from here. So first and foremost thing, if I click only on prefix, the doubt you had was this is not highlighted. Why? Because merge column will always work when we have selected two or three or more than two
More than
columns,
one
right?
column. Yeah.
How it will merge, right? So since we had selected only one column, it is not appearing over here. So that is the first thing. The other thing is, as soon as we selected two columns, it started appearing, right? Because now we could have merged it, and we want to merge three columns. Now, the question is, do we want to merge under transform tab or under add column tab? Because there is difference, right? If we do it under transform, what will happen? If
I
we,
think that's where you would want to do it under transform.
sorry.
I think that's where we want to go to do it, right? Under transform, and then we would merge the columns from there, not from adding the columns. Because if you added the column, it's going to add another column
Mm-hmm.
or two or three. I don't know. So I would say doing it from a transform button.
Okay. Okay, so under transform, what will happen? All these first name, last name will go away, and you will only have full name, right? You will not have first name or last name or prefix, right? But if you do it from add column, you will have prefix, first name, last name, and full name, right? In this case, what I would suggest is, let's do it from add column. Why? Because sometimes it happens is, let's say people want to see how many people are ending with last name or how many person are male or female. So you could have done through Mr. Mrs. Right? So we can keep this column as is. Since we are creating a new column after merging multiple columns, it's better to keep the data set or the columns as is and create a new column. Why we would not have created a new column while capitalizing first name? Because we were not getting any additional information. The values were same, we were just making it like we were just changing the format, right? But in this case, we are creating a entirely new column by merging three of the columns. So that's why in this case, we will keep these columns as is, and then we will create a new column which is created after merging each of these columns, right? And we will not basically change the columns, the raw columns that is given over here. Is it making sense?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions? Aklilu, you are not asking anything. You are not participating. Is it clear to you?
Yes, Kiran, I just listening. Yeah.
Okay, okay, sure. Yeah, so now what we can do is we can select prefix, first name, last name, go to add column, and then do the same thing, merge columns. You can see if I select only prefix, here merge column is not appearing. Same thing is happening under add column. It works the same way. Just the difference between add column and transform is it will create a new column. So I will select all the three and then hit on merge columns, right? So as soon as I hit on merge column, right, there is something called separator, right? So what separator you want? So separator means, let's say after Mr. What do you want? You want some space, right? You don't want comma or equal sign or anything. You want Mr. space, first name space last name, right? So that is what you need to mention over here. Like you want to merge with what separator? I want to merge these three columns with space separator, right? Then what is the this is optional. What column name you want to give to the new merged column? So for me it will be full name because we are merging prefix, first name, last name, so I'll give it as full name and hit enter. Okay, right? So as soon as you do this, what you will see is, see, one full name has inserted, wherein you have all the three columns merged, and the name is Mr. John Yang, Mr. Ruben Torres, all these, right? So this is done. Any doubt you guys have here?
No.
Great. So the and then once you do this, you can quickly check what is the data type. It's showing ABC, which is looking fine to me, text, because all these are text, so we are good. So this is one of the transformation wherein you see like how to basically work with the merge columns, right? The second thing, one more transformation what we can do here is, you see there is email address, right? uh let's I want, what I want to do is, under email address, I want to extract all the values that are present before at the rate. How will I do?
You would
Split.
separate those by, okay, so can you go to, I don't know if you need to add a column here, but maybe go into add column
Mm-hmm.
and then transform.
1 minute. Add column and then
Add column, and then you would do, can you right click on the email address at the top, the column?
I can do that.
And then I want to see here, can you transform?
Split, I think.
Transform. Okay.
That's not what we want. Trim, no, that's not what it is. So, you want to separate it, right? Anything before the at sign, you want to
Correct.
separate everything, right? So
Yes.
we want to, separate
I
this
think
by delimiter and then do at sign. I don't know how to get to that though.
Split,
Okay.
I
No
think
problem.
split column.
split column.
No, you're
So where
you're
is the split column?
Go to add
Oh,
column.
I'm on the add column. Yeah.
Okay, the right click
Right click.
and split column.
Split column. Okay.
By
And then
by delimit. Yeah, that's it. The very top one.
Yes, by
by
the
delimiter.
The
yes.
very top one.
Okay.
And then here, yeah, by the at sign right there. So custom, select enter and delimiter, yeah.
Space.
Sorry. What else?
Split
The
the left
delimiter
delimiter,
space.
right delimiter. The left, no, the right delimiter.
Rightmost delimiter.
The current of the delimiter. So I would do that, the last one.
Each occurrence of the delimiter.
No, I think it's the rightmost delimiter, because it's anything after the at. So I would do the middle one, the rightmost delimiter. Advanced options. And then okay.
Okay.
Custom the select or enter in delimiter space.
Okay.
Add delimiter space.
Where? What do you want to? Okay. Let's do this first, and then I will do city whatever you are telling. So, are you good with this, Hanan?
Select or enter delimiter custom, and then the at is what we want. Split at rightmost delimiter. Anything after the right, the at sign. Yes, I'm okay with it. Can you just hit OK?
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
So what
Right?
happens is, yeah, what happens is, you see here now you have email address 1 and email address 2, right? So what it did is, it has broken or splitted email address into 2 parts, right? Before at the rate, after at the rate, right? Now,
Yeah.
Sorry.
I just said yes.
Okay. So now the first and foremost thing is, um, we don't want to we want to keep email address as well, right? Let's say I want to do some other operations. Let's say now uh, uh, I wanted to have something called extract data after let's say this hyphen or dot, right? So I don't want to actually whenever we do some transformation, right, like extracting few things or creating basically new column, we don't touch the raw column. The raw column we will make transformation only when we are not changing the values under that column, right? Now what has happened is we have lost the email address. We don't have email address anywhere, right? If I want to have email address for this particular person, right, how will we get? Because we don't have email address, we have split it into two, right? John 24 is separate, adventureworks is separate, .com is separate, like adventureworks.com is separate. So first and foremost thing, we don't want to make changes to the actual column that we are having here when we are actually transforming or do some kind of transformation which will create a new value to the column, right? That is first thing. So in this case, uh, we we would have gone with the add column and not split the same column, because what happens if you split the column, if you go and select split option, what it will do, it will split the same column, and we want to keep that column and not directly split. Either you could have done, you could have duplicated it and then did the split thing, because we I want to retain that column, because the full email address is a important information that is attached to each of the row, and we don't want to lose that, right? So is this clear?
Yes, that's definitely clear.
Yeah. So we could have done split, but split works on the same column, right? And we want to retain the actual email address information. So if you want to go ahead and work with split option, then you could have duplicated the email address column and then applied split on the duplicated ones, right? So for now, I will cross this particular column and split column by delimiter, and this is the actual I have removed actually the applied steps, the two steps that we have applied, and this is the raw value that we had, email address. We want to retain this column and then create a new one. So how can we do that, right? So one thing we discussed is either duplicate this column and then do the same thing that you guys told me, right click, split column, and then do that, right? If I go to split column and delimiter, City, you were telling something else. Can you tell me what you were trying to tell?
This was the
Hmm.
custom to change it to space.
Okay.
That's it.
And
And the rightmost delimiter.
okay. Okay, so what does it mean, right? What the question was, we want to extract values before at the rate, right? So for us in this case, we know that all the values that are present before at the rate we want to extract. If we put delimiter as space, how it will get to know that it has to pick values before at the rate, right? So space is not correct in this case. Understood? Because we want everything before at the rate. I am specifying that the delimiter is at the rate and not space, because we want everything before at the rate. So under delimiter, we need to specify at the rate. Since here we don't have at the rate, we will go to custom and then put at the rate, right? Custom means you can put the delimiter on your own. So I want to put delimiter as at the rate, right? In this case. So that is this.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Now the question is, split at. Where do we want to split, right? In this case, leftmost delimiter or rightmost delimiter, both is fine, right? Or each occurrence of delimiter. If you select any one of these, it will work fine. Why? Because we only have one at the rate in each of these values. If we would have if we would have two at the rate, let's say after .com also we would have at the rate and some values, then these options would have meant something. Why? Because in that case, if we would have selected leftmost delimiter, it would have looked values before the first. Leftmost means the first occurrence, right? So then it would have selected this first occurrence and it would have taken John 24 from there. But since in this values, we don't have other at the rate, we only have one at the rate. So either you select leftmost or rightmost, you have only one. So that doesn't make sense. Or each occurrence of delimiter, you have only one occurrence of these delimiter. So in this case, there is no sense of selecting, like you can select anything, it will give you the same result because we have only one delimiter over here under each of these cells, right? If we would have two or three delimiter, then the values would have changed for this, right? So these options are clear, right? Okay. So I will do cancel and yeah. So either we could have done through this, whatever you guys have told, but in that case, what happened is we needed to actually duplicate this and then do this, right? That is also correct. That is also one way. There is no one correct answer in Power BI. You could have done this with n number of options, right? So this is one way that you guys have told me. The other option is very fast and easy, right? There's a built-in function called extract. I will remove this particular thing, this is step, and what I could have done is, which is easier, you will just select this email address. I want to create one new column for this one because I don't want to hamper my original column. I want to have email address as one value, as one column in the data set, right? So that's why I'm going under add column. What I will do is I will go into extract. What does extract does? Extract will extract information or extract values from these columns on the basis of delimiter, right? So under extract, if you see, you have length, first character, last character, range, text before delimiter, text after delimiter, text between delimiter, right? So in this case, what we want to extract text before delimiter. So you can select this one and then you can provide delimiter as at the rate, right? And under advanced option, what is there from the start of input number of, so here we only have one at the rate, so we don't want to specify any of these things, either start or end, anything is fine with me. So we are not worried about those options, we just put at the rate and hit OK. What it had done is, at the end, if you see, it had created one column with delimiter as John 24, right? In the split column, what was happening was you were getting two two columns because you are splitting the same column. So basically, three steps was involved. One, duplicating the column. Second, once you will split, it will give you two columns. But we don't want all those things. We just want to create one additional column in which we want text before at the rate delimiter. And that is what you got from here, right? Using this extract. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. So you have it here, and then you can, since the name is looking a little weird, text before delimiter. So what we can do is we can double click on this text before delimiter, right? And you can modify this as maybe username or something, because these looks like username John 24 Ruben Julio. So I can give this name as username. You can give any name, anything to this name, just so that it makes some meaningful sense, right? So I've given username and saved it, like hit enter, right? So this is how you got uh, username column along with your email address. So you have email address also and you have username also. Let's quickly do one more. If I want to extract, if I want to extract value text between uh, text between delimiter. So delimiter is at the rate and .com. So let's say I want to extract values between at the rate and .com. How we will do that? And I want to create a new column just to specify. So basically the question is, I want to create a new column, and in that column the value should be uh, uh, text between at the rate and .com from the email address column. How we will do that?
So you would click on add column.
Yeah.
Actually, no, you don't. Okay, yeah. After in there, you can go to extract actually,
Yeah.
and you can do text
It's after.
um
Which way?
It's
between delimiters actually. That the last one.
Yeah.
Then you start delimiter would be the at sign,
Yeah.
and then the end would be dot com.
Yeah.
Um, and okay, and hopefully that created a new column because we did want it to be under the new column.
Exactly. And you see, you got it. It's so simple, right? Since you have extract option available, you don't need to duplicate and do everything. You have everything over here. Like you have extracted values between @ and .com from each of the columns, right? And this is adventure works, right? So maybe you can or we can rename it as,
AW underscore something.
yeah, we could have renamed it as username and then domain name maybe. Because
Yeah,
adventure
domain
works,
name.
right? Domain
Yeah.
name. Enter and that's it. So you have username, domain name, and email address as well, right? So
Yeah.
these are few of the transformation that we can do in the data. We can discuss few more tomorrow. For now, what we will do, since we are over time, we will just go and under home and close and apply. So whatever transformation for now we have applied, you can see it over here. You the data will start appearing under customer lookup, right? So earlier we had product lookup, now we have customer lookup, and all those columns are here, right? You can see the same thing under data view. You have product lookup, customer lookup, and under model view, now you have two tables, product lookup, customer lookup, right? That we have done.
Yeah.
So this is what we have tomorrow. What we will do is we will do few more transformation. So today we have seen the text specific options, right? Which is delimiter, extract, format, all those things. Tomorrow we will mostly work on the number specific tool, like sum, min, max, how it works, and then do few more transformations into the data set, and then try to if time permits, try to create a calendar table, date table, right? So
Okay.
right now, what we are trying to do is we are going slowly, slowly. So we are importing each of the tables, doing some transformation. So once we import all the tables and we are good with the data part, then the thing will come is the model part, where we will work on the relationship. So that is like the next step. But for now, we will first try to import all the data, and for importing we need to do few transformations. So that's what we are trying to understand, what all options are there, different type of options, right? So yeah, that is it for today's class. We will save this, and then tomorrow we will start from here only, right? So I'll save this later on. Oh, that's fine. uh, any question in today's class?
Um, I don't have any questions.
Okay, so I think we are good. I will stop recording, and